Again.
Let's go back to the highway department and talk about TIFIA, because the New Start program that we used to get like $500 billion for, or whatever, that pork barrel spending, it's now TIFIA.
Right.
TIFIA is federally backed loans. So that you can turn around and get bonds.
Oh, this is like mortgage.
This is like me co-signing on my son's car and promising the banker that if he doesn't make the payment, I'll come along and do it. So when they go sell a bond out there on the market somewhere, the person says, well, you know, Dennis, I don't know you very well, so I'm not sure I really want to buy your bond. But then, you know, you do have the full faith and backing of the U.S. government. I know the U.S. government, so I'm going to I'll buy your bond.
We're talking about an $850 million loan that we're taking out with somebody with the full faith and credit of the United States to back us.
No, I'm not talking about, okay, I'm gonna put this on a chalkboard. Light rail, $850 million, Federal Transit Administration.
Right.
Okay?
$850 million for light rail.
Highway, TIFIA, no longer big pork barrel spending, now TIFIA loans.
TIFIA loans.
Come under the highway.
Highway administration.
So we can get our funding from them, but it's not real dollars. It's just a promise to somebody else that if they loan us the money, we will somehow or another pay them back. So what it comes down to is we are now sitting on a project that will require us to pay more in tolls.
So we're going to, of the $850 million for highway funds that they're looking for, we are going to get $65 million from...
You've got this totally confused.
Totally confused.
Forget $850 million in highway funds.
How much are we supposed to get for highway funds?
Okay. Let's talk about the whole project.
Yeah.
They're claiming it's $3.6 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. $850 million is federal transit light rail funds. So take that and set it aside. We're done with $850 million. We're not going to talk about that number again.
We're at 2.15 billion.
2.2.
2.2.
No.
Billion.
No.
3.6.
It's 3.6. You know. So
minus
now you're
8,
at 2.8.
2.6.
6.7.
Okay.
So we got to come up with $2.67 billion. So if the state of Oregon is putting in $450 million and the state of Washington is putting in $450 million, take off that $900 million.
And we still have
now you're at 1.6
billion.
7.
Still 1.7 billion. Okay.
Okay, so that's what we got to cover.
$1.7 billion.
We'll get $400 maybe million worth of TIFIA backed guarantees from the government, maybe $400 million worth of them out of there. So the rest of it will not get the low interest rate bonds because they won't have the full faith and backing of the federal government. That's all of it's on us.
So we're on this is all toll backed bonds unless they can find
all of
it.
All of it.
All 3.6 bill.
Well, all but the 850. All but the transit money.
Oh, so the states are both going to be issuing toll back.
Go back to the 2.7 million. We're going to be paying 2.7 billion, and that's if there's no cost overruns. And for federal money, you have to realize all cost overruns are paid by the people. The government's not going to step up and bail you out. It's on you.
You mean the federal government?
Yes, the federal government's not going to step up.
The state government has to pay for it.
Actually, no. They can turn around and say, well, gee, your $2 tolling rates that we had anticipated were going to cover these expenses aren't going to cut it. So now it's going to be $16.
So we should ask Mexico and Canada because that's part of a regional thing to help pay for it, right?
Okay.
No. Maybe
my real concern is that this project goes through it all. If you look across the river and you look at the mess that Max has done to the state of Oregon, to Metro, to the city of Portland, financially, TriMet, which operates Max, also operates TriMet bus system. Ever since the first line went in, which was the blue line, has continuously every year cut service.
Yes.
They just came out with a statement. This statement right here was dated Wednesday, June 13th last year, and they're talking about having a $12 million budget hole.
$12 million budget hole?
Yeah, $12 million. And so they were definitely going to have a serious problem every quarter trying to fill this $12 million budget hole. And so they were looking at how they're going to cut and where they're going to cut. So they cut the free rail zone. It used to be free to jump on and ride around downtown, and it's no longer free to ride around downtown. Now you got to pay no matter where you're going. And they raised fares.
But doesn't part of the federal loans, you know, that $850 million for transit, isn't that based upon a system being able to operate successfully for 10 years?
Absolutely, but it's not going to happen. Because what they've already got is a failure. So it's not going to happen.
So we probably won't even get that 850 transit.
Well, I'm seriously, they're not going to give it to you all at once up front. So my concern is that, I'm concerned in an 8 or 9 year construction project, if Max and TriMet will actually even still be running by the time we get the project built.
So that 2.7 billion figure could be the whole canoodle, the whole 3.6 billion, easily on the backs of Clark County residents and some Portland residents and lots of truckers.
Well, you look at it, and they changed 15 bus routes last September.
Yes.
To help make their coverage happen. I looked at a new sheet that came out.
No, we're talking about the financial coverage, or are we talking about the routes?
They changed routes. 15 lines were cut
in order to
save enough money to cover that $12 million hole. That hole's not going to go away. It's a quarterly hole. So they're doing a forecast for retiring future retirees and all this. They are $800 million in the hole 2 years ago on their retirement funding.
$800 million?
100% unfunded.
Oh.
And as they look forward, this last report that I saw, it was $1.2 billion in the hole on their retirement funding program. Now, look forward. The system is just old enough, just around long enough that the retiree count is expected to really incrementally explode.
Yes.
They're expecting to cut 63 bus lines in the next 4 years. When we get the bridge done and the light rail built, I ask you, will anyone be able to ride light rail? Because when they get to the end, to that transportation spot where they get off and catch a bus to go to work, will there be a bus line to take them there? This is going to be the choo-choo train to nowhere.
Yes.
It won't run. And we don't have, this is the amazing part, we do not have the authority over their long-term retirement plan. These are not our employees. We don't get involved with the union negotiations. They're not our employees. If I was a C-Tran bus driver, I would be screaming bloody murder. Wait a minute. You're taking away my job. Mm-hmm. And somehow they've got them fooled into believing this is not going to hurt them. I am amazed. I am amazed at the way that they can sort of wrap language into something and it looks pretty and it's got a bow and open the box and hold your nose.
But the only way to deliver that package is by rickshaw.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah, because that's about the only... I mean, what are they thinking?
I'm trying to ask that question. I met with Steve Stewart the other day, and I asked that question. I ask that question all the time. And this is what we agreed to is the only answer. No one will tell you
Who agreed to it?
why.
Exactly.
I'm not even sure I care who. And I am here to tell you that, you know, if somebody said, let's all stick our hands on a hot burner, I would suggest to you that I might ask why. And you would be having to seriously come up with a valid reason, like, well, if we do this, they won't hang that guy over there. I might burn my hand to save that guy's life, but aside from that, ain't doing it. It makes no sense.
Now, were these the guys who spent years studying all the options and decided that it wasn't going to be a regional project?
Yeah, apparently. Actually, I think they decided that without studying all the options. But that's exactly who they are. If you look at the press release that came down the pipe, I'm trying to remember the exact date. It was just a few days ago. It came from the Cascade Policy Institute, and they're showing that the cost of fringe benefits on TriMet is 156% of their existing wages for working employees.
Fringe benefits?
Yeah, things like your health club that's part of your contract.
Sure.
Because they pay for health clubs. As you continue to read through their numbers, the unfunded actuarial accrued liabilities for other post-employment obligations. So in other words, not working employees, retired employees.
Right.
Rose from 816 million to 900 million between in the year of 2011, so by January of 2012. Currently, it grows by 1.6 million per week in unfunded liabilities. They, by every standard, are bankrupt.
Yes. So
their operating loss last year in operating losses was $404 million.